Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another day of Be Agile Scrum. Hope you are all set with pen and paper to make lots of notes. I truly appreciate your time showing up over here in timely fashion and ready to learn with the new topic today. So are you all set to start resuming with the new learning today?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to share our code of honor. Can someone tell me that why we need to have code of honor in any kind of learning or in any kind of stuff? Code of honor is also known as principle and values. Have you seen values somewhere written in front of your eyes? Who codes values and principle? Any idea on this? Any idea? Anyone? You can say yes or no.
So can you repeat the question?
I said that code of honor is also known as principle or values. Have you seen anywhere written or read somewhere principle or values of any entity? If you have, where you have seen?
Yes, it is the values
In
of
the Agile methodology.
Okay.
I think it's Guru schools.
Okay. Where else do you frequently see in your life? People talk about our 7 values or 7 principles, something like that, mostly read somewhere. I'm sure you might have come across such kind of stuff somewhere. So where have you found frequently mentioned?
In holy books.
In holy books. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you so much, Apamita. So yes, and apart from this, let me tell you where you might have seen. Have you ever visited any company and you have seen that they mention at the very front gate or entry point, our 7 values or 7 principles, something like that?
Yes. Yes.
Do you also see that they mention goal, vision, and mission?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and purpose. Yes. Okay, let me ask you, do you have any goal, mission, or purpose?
Yes.
Before starting your this journey, do you have any purpose?
Yes.
And what is that?
We want to get placed, we want to work, we want to earn money.
Exactly. And that requires to be protected. And how do we protect that? By using code of honor. Exactly in the similar fashion, corporates or even companies and groups and institutions protect their goal, mission, and purpose using 7 values or principle. This is what exactly we are doing over here. So does it make some sense why code of honor? Yeah?
Yes.
So let's explore that together and remind each other what these 6 values and code of honors are with which we need to abide by. The very first one says that show up live for this particular Be Agile Scrum track. But do you really need to show up only live? No, also be on time, remain punctual, and remain highly committed. Why? Because it says that one universal law which never changes. It says that how you do anything is how you do everything. If you practice to remain on time, punctual, highly committed, you will be appreciated for this, even if you get placed, and you will continue to practice even in the meetings after getting placed in the corporate of IT. So that one is the first one to remind us. Second one is this: you are starting this instructor-led free training program over here, and you become a student. But do you really need to be only a student? No. The answer is we want you to become a full stack student who does practice these 3 things at least, who does all the assignments, do self-research even after the sessions, and repeat what they learn. So if you will do these all, you try to become a full stack student. And third, because of you becoming a full stack student, you can take the responsibility of success. And if you don't, you will get this. And if you can take the responsibility of this, then only this can be corrected and made a trail for this. That is success. Are you able to see the screen where my pointers are going? Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you. So
Yes.
that's why I urge and appeal to you, take the full responsibility, not just success by chance, but also look back and see what I have not done may attract what. Is it going to attract failure? Or it will lead towards the success, because our only goal is to get place, then only I consider that as a success. Fourth one, on this journey, when you are ready to take the responsibility, that can only be led by the positive mindset, learning mindset. A positive mindset is always ready to correct the failure, okay? Because that will continue to thrive towards the learning. And while they are doing so, they will go complaint free and load themselves with the gratitude, and then only they can expand their learning zone. And that's the reason I want you to invite to practice this. And how would you do that? By increasing your receptivity. And how would you do that? You would do that by listening to the audio which I have shared with you every single day. As the speaker in this audio track says that listen to this audio at least thrice in a day. If not, then can you just make it possible once in a day if you're super duper busy? This is a 30 to 40 minutes long audio track, but still you can squeeze it between within 15 minutes. How would you do that? You can just start listening to it in just 2x mode, and you will find that you are able to listen to it complete just within 15 minutes. When you can do that, when you are starting your day, when you are jogging, when you are running, when you are doing any other activities of your morning routine, you can combine this listening there, and you need to listen to it at least for 30 minutes, because this will only help you to boost your mindset with these four elements, so that you can take the responsibility of success, so that you can practice to become a full stack student, so that you will be ready to practice this in reality. So in a way, in a nutshell, everything is linked with each other. And the second one is that how you can increase the receptivity for the learning by following the quadrant of learning, golden quadrant of learning. Why do I say golden quadrant of learning? Because this is a golden when you retain the information for longer. Okay. And for that, I always invite people to start any learning with the declaration followed by anchoring. Anchoring is nothing but holding your focus stronger so that you can retain information longer. Okay, so once you declare with the anchor and then you continue learning, then you are encouraged to draw whatever you have learned on a piece of paper using your pen or pencil, not by typing. And when you do that, you will be surprised that you will be able to summarize by looking at the mirror just in a minute or two, and you can enhance it in a way that even 5 years old can understand. When you will be able to understand what you have learned and what you have drawn or learned, and for this learning you started with the declaration, with the anchoring, and to retain that information really for longer, you must and must follow these 4 steps. That is declaration with the anchor, learn, draw, summarize. How would you summarize? Look at the mirror and summarize to yourself or summarize to kids. But the best way is to publish your 1 minute or 2 minutes of video. Why? Because that also is a yardstick of your learning confidence, and that becomes marketable because the recruiter and the recruiting agencies are associated with the guru schools. They have they're back on you the way you have delivered your summary. And the moment you are going better and better and better, you become a optable candidate. And that's the reason everything you will find as a part of process and the system. I'm going to talk about it more when we will share the slide. But however, let me tell you, let me ask you, are you ready for the declaration today? Because we are going to take a deep dive towards the learning today. Are you all set to declare? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, super. So what we are going to do is that at the count of 3, we are going to use anchor. So what will be the anchor? Anchor will be nothing but the self clap or high five, and repeating after me the selected statement, what you see on the screen in blue. So at the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and repeat after me after clap. 1, 2, 3, and clap. I'm a quick learner.
I'm a quick
I'm a quick learner.
What others can learn and master,
What others can learn and master,
I too can do that.
I too can do that.
Once again, clap with me. That's the anchor at the count of 3, and then repeat the selected item. 1, 2, 3, and clap. Because I'm an awesome learner.
Because I'm an
I'm an
awesome learner.
learner.
Today's learning is going to be super duper easy to me.
Today's learning is going to be super duper easy to me.
Thank you so much for saying so, and that's the reason it is going to happen. So while you are going to do so, remember to be a giver. Giver mindset has a great learning path, and that makes you more spiritually grounded, and that helps you to learn really a lot and really more. And while you are learning, it will definitely lead towards the earning. And when it will lead towards the earning, I always want every learner to set an intent of charity, because when you give, you grow. So start your giving to any places where you believe in that it is going to add value to the society. It could be temple, church, mosque, anywhere you believe in, gurudwara, anywhere you believe in, or even feeding hungry people, students, or helping into orphanages or old age home. So when you will do that with the intent to give back, then you will get more, because what goes around comes around. But I don't want you start your this intent with the intent of just earning more, but also do it with to inspire more people. And while you are doing so, remember how much you can give away, 5% or 10% of in your income. Why? Because when you give, you grow. When you receive, you may survive. And I am sure that everyone wants to grow, not just to may survive. And while you are doing so, appreciate what you are doing, what others are doing for you. And even something does not happen, remember that every single item is helping you to bring a bigger scene. Why I say so? Because there is another universal law which says that what appreciates you. And the same thing, let me tell you that one of our candidate got placed, and it's been almost more than a month. She is learning a lot at the workplace, and at the same time she is coming back and telling us that, hey, even I could start my new project, my project is getting changed. But she is a bit spectacle why this is happening. And then I remind her that every single scene is preparing for the next, so that you become adaptable, and you adopt the environment of the company where you are working, and you understand every single thing, how do they work. Maybe that time the real project may happen. However, you are getting the opportunity to sense one project to another and to another. And by the time in the reality when the project will kickstart, that time you will be completely ready. So this is how, with your pure intent, even the nature and universe will continue to serve you, provided you are ready to get served and ready to serve back to the nature. Thank you so much. With this intent, let's with this discussion and expansion of code of honor, what we are going to do is that we are going to take a deep dive towards the learning. And for today's topic, I want Prerna to start. And I have just stopped screen share. So Prerna, you can share your screen and then we will continue to get into the topic. Prerna, over to you.
Sure, Gaurav. Thank you so much for this
Yeah,
wonderful start as always. Let me share my screen.
sure.
Gaurav, can you make my another ID as
Okay, sure. I'll do that.
I'm not able to share.
Thank you for asking. Yeah. So here you go, your pose.
Yes, I can. 1 second. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Scrum Events we can see.
Yes. Gaurav, would you like to start from here? If you wish
Okay.
to.
No, you can continue. I'll just find a connection and then we'll continue.
Sure. Okay, fine. So just to give you a recap to you and to everyone, I hope they remember. Rather, we had a much detailed discussion on the Scrum roles. I'll just like to go on the slides just for a quick recap. Okay. So guys, you remember these roles: product owner, Scrum master, Scrum teams? Yes, no,
Yes.
yes. Only two
Yes.
people remember? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Savan, what about you? Don't remember?
I said yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay. So basically, we learned about what is the responsibility, what is the work, how they are, connected. And we did that with an example of, I would say, Gaurav, do I need to start recording? I guess you're already recording, right?
Yes, Prerna, I'm already recording. You can continue.
Okay. Yeah. So we actually learned this with a very simple example of your school class teacher and your school principal. So this is the way Scrum team is associated, or they directly work with Scrum Master, and in turn, Scrum Master is very tightly connected with the product owner. And product owner, above all, deals with stakeholders and others. Okay. So this was all that we learned last time. Now going ahead in this next I would say an interesting part, that is Scrum events. Okay, if you remember, I had mentioned about stand-up meetings. Does anybody remember about stand-up meetings? I would really like
Yes.
them to share.
Yes.
Yes. What
Yes.
is that? What is a stand-up meeting?
It's a quick
It's a
call.
quick meet.
Yeah, you go
Continue.
ahead.
You
No,
have
you
to
can.
start and have meeting.
Yeah, go ahead, any one of you.
It is less than 15 minutes. You have to stand.
Okay,
And
and
discuss three things. What are the impediments? What you are going to do and what was done.
very well. Anybody else wants to add? And why it
Yeah.
is called as a stand-up meeting?
They're
Because
standing.
all-
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay. So I just started in between because I could see that's one of the events. So starting with on the left side, if you could see, there's some alphabets are cut, but it is release planning and it is product backlog. So if you remember, when I was talking about, or when we were discussing about the product owner, I had mentioned that he's the one who manages the product backlog. And to my surprise, all of you understood product backlog quite well, So what is product backlog? Product backlog is like a repository of all the requirements or user stories or all the activities to be completed or the functionalities to be delivered, right? Everybody is on this with me? Product
Yes.
backlog, can we see
Yes.
here on the left hand side?
Yes.
See, that is why it is shown like in like a stack, like structure. So we have the top priority items at the top, and we have the low priority, or kind of pushed by the customer. Like in their customer has openly asked that they can have this delivery later. So those kind of items at the back, at the end rather. So release planning meeting is one of the first, or I would say very important event. So in this event, what happens is, as in before we start any sprint, maybe before the even the first sprint, we have this meeting wherein the entire team. By the way, all of these events are mostly, I would say, kind of mandatory for the Scrum team, for development team, for the Scrum master, and most of the times product owner also be a part of it. It's like around, you can say, 99% of time, but we do not always say it's mandatory. But yes, release planning meeting is kind of a very critical one. So product owner on its own be a part of it to understand what we are getting into, what kind of project we have, what kind of active, as he manages the product backlog. He is there to ensure the team that what all activities, tasks, user stories we have to deliver in this particular sprint. Okay, so in this meeting we have everybody. And if you remember last time, one of the responsibilities of Scrum Master is to organize meetings. So tell me, who is the one who has managed to get a boardroom and conference room and virtual calls set up? What do you think, who did all that hard work?
Scrum Master.
Scrum Master.
Scrum Master.
Absolutely, Scrum Master. So to for a long story short, all these events like sprint planning, release planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, all these things, all these meetings, if I have to call them a meeting, other events, are organized by Scrum Master. Always remember that. Okay, so tomorrow when you enter into organization, you start working, if you're given a title as Scrum Master, and you are taking care of a project, then these are some of the activities that you'll have to do, or rather you must do. Okay, so starting with release planning being the first event of the entire Scrum process, wherein you understand what is the vision or what is the project goal of that particular sprint, on of that particular release. And then everybody has to be I would say on the same page with respect to customer priority. So all that has been discussed, and apparently when you start that, and then you get into the actual sprint planning. The first meeting itself is like for understanding the project, understanding the client, understanding what are the timelines we have, what what are the what all resources we have. So it's basically like an introductory meeting, or event for every one of them to know who is the product owner, who is the Scrum Master, who all members we have in a development team, how many numbers of developers and testers and BA and architects and subject matter experts and whatnot. So basically it's more like a know your team meeting and know your project kind of a meeting to kickstart. After that we have a sprint. Okay, if you remember, I had mentioned a sprint is a time duration, a particular time duration to carry out a specific set of activities. Generally, this sprint can be from 1 week to 4 weeks. At times, it is 6 weeks also, but the general norm is 1 to 4 weeks. And the ideal duration, honestly, that I have worked for is 2 weeks. So 2 to 4 is like super ideal time where we have each sprint. So basically, you're given 2 weeks time frame for a particular sprint. Maybe it's sprint 0 or sprint 1, wherein you have to complete whatever the customer is asked for, right? So you have at a stretch 2 weeks time, it's called 2 week sprint. And at the end of the sprint, you will have this sprint review that I'll come to that later. Okay. Anybody has any doubts in this till now? Because I'm going event by event. Yes,
No.
please go ahead.
So sprint is like a kind of just a time duration you are saying, but we have to keep somewhere that data, right? That is called sprint.
Absolutely. That is your product backlog. And for that particular sprint, okay. Now there are two things. How do I put into? Okay. Okay. So product backlog is like a guide, as in if you remember in your school, especially in India, we used to have this concept of guide, wherein your entire syllabus used to be mentioned in that, big textbook kind of a thing.
Right.
And your notebook used to be a part of it, wherein you used to jot down whatever you're studying, in that semester, in that unit test.
Mhm.
So basically, product backlog is like the repository. It's like the Gita, Bible, Quran, wherein you have all the tasks, and from that you take some tasks which go into your sprint backlog, in your sprint rather. And as you proceed to sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, see what happens. For example, in a particular sprint you have given 10 deliverables or 10 user stories. User stories means, I would say, the requirements are kind of mentioned in this format, wherein we call them as a user story. It can be a task, it can be a detailed summary, so it's called as user story as a term in Scrum. So when you finish sprint 1 and you go to sprint 2, out of 10 there might be 2 tasks which are not done as per the customer request. Customer might have said, no, we want to focus on 8 other tasks, and those were big enough, and you did not complete those 2 because the customer said, okay, these are low priority, we can do it later. So now those 2 tasks go to my sprint backlog. Okay, so and then that backlog is carried to the next sprint. Just like how I have product backlog with all the requirements or user stories, similar way, I take out some pointers, high priority from that product backlog into my sprint planning. And in that sprint planning, in that particular sprint, as I go ahead, I have this sprint backlog. That depends. If you have something, you understand the word backlog, right? That means something
Right.
that is remaining from the earlier version and you're carrying it forward. Okay, that's one thing. And can anybody tell me, what all can be, if you are put into that particular team or this process, what all will be developed in a sprint meeting? What do you feel? Any thoughts?
If there any uh, blocker or something that would be mentioned in the sprint.
Mhm. Any blockers? See, we are talking about sprint planning, so we are basically in the planning phase, wherein we have all the uh, item from product backlog, and no, they are also called of like list of work items, basically tasks. Task is a very simple English word. In Agile we can call them work items or user stories. So when we talk about planning, by the way, we kind of foresee, or we kind of have this uh, pre-planned schedule of how the things go, right?
Right.
Are you trying to understand? Anybody else want to add something? Then I'll give my explanation. Not an issue. What do we understand by sprint planning?
So in sprint planning, the more priority work uh, chose and it kept in the sprint backlog, so that the work can go ahead. And
Okay,
all the planning will be happen over there with the Scrum team.
very well put. Yes, yes. So basically, what Suchina is trying to say is, basically it's one of the very important event, wherein the entire upcoming sprints planning takes place. It depends that the product owner and Scrum master with the team decide what is the sprint goal. Okay, remember this word, it is not mentioned here, but a sprint goal is discussed. That can be any particular functionality, any particular deliverables, or whatever the customer is asked for. Like if you example, last time we've taken that birthday example with cupcakes, right? Everybody remembers? Yes, no, no,
Right.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Oh,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Lot of yeses, yeah. So maybe if you understand that birthday party as a entire project, as a bigger project, then I would say a birthday cake can be a one good big sprint. Okay, so the in that birthday cake, what will be the that sprint backlog or the work items? Okay, that cake has to be round in shape. Cake has to be in this flavor. Cake should have this many candles. Cake should have chocolates on that. So you see, it's only the same thing, but I have bifurcated or broken down the task. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Right. So if I ask you
Yes.
what is my sprint goal, what would be in this example?
The cake.
The birthday cake.
Perfect.
Mm.
Perfect. So that's being my sprint goal. And what is my sprint backlog items? All the tasks I just mentioned, or you can add any more, right? So basically, yes. So I think this is an easy example to relate with. Yeah, generally what kind of examples I have is, for example, if you have a Facebook lookalike website, some websites like Facebook or Google or Gmail, therein how you can have login and add my friend or search for a friend, send a friend request. So all these things, all these functionalities, what we see, those are basically tasks, right? Those are basically work items. Someone did develop that and now we are using them. So all these decisions are taken, development teams kind of shares what is their expertise, and scrum master and product owner understand who is kind of efficient, or see, basically this meetings is to know what are your strength and what all you have in your team, so how efficiently and how productively you can deliver. Okay, are we good? Yes,
Yes.
no, yes,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is what it is, a sprint meeting along with sprint backlog. Okay, are we good? Can I move to next?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So now we come to the typical and our favorite as daily scrum. Okay, which I have been kind of explaining from earlier session that a daily scrum, or daily scrum is also called as a stand-up meeting. Okay, you have this similar terminology. The more famous terminology is a stand-up meeting, but it's also called as daily scrum because it's a daily activity, and then you just have to be at one place, and you have to stand and ensure that it kind of ends in less than 15 minutes. And in those 15 minutes, you're supposed to answer these three questions, like what did you work on prior to 8 hours, like, or rather yesterday, what are you going to work on today, and if there are any impediments, you can just share those, or you can check with the team, have they faced similar problem, and you can get some lead or some updates on that, depending on what kind of a response you get. So basically, this event is to ensure that everybody knows what the team is working on, and that way they get an understanding of how are we heading towards our sprint goal, and how are we dealing with the issues at hand we have. So any doubts in this? Any doubts in Scrum meeting?
No.
Yes, stand-up meeting. And trust me, guys, it is actually the way what I've explained, I've been a part of Agile for so long, and it's always like that. Nobody sits in that meeting. Everybody is standing up, and then because you're standing, you yourself know that you're not supposed to stretch that meeting for long. And it's a very quick and very effective meeting, I would say. In my earlier organizations, our day used to start with that. We used to kind of wait for our scrum master. Product owner is not mandatory in this meeting on daily basis because he has other stakeholders to take care of, but definitely scrum master. So once the scrum master used to come in, then as per their availability, first thing in the morning or at the start of the day, we used to do is scrum meeting. So that's kind of sets the path for your entire day or entire next 8 hours. Okay, yeah. So are we good on this? And this
I have
1 to
one
4
question.
weeks
Yes.
duration is basically for, yeah, thank you. Basically for sprint, showing that the sprint can go from 1 to 4 weeks. Okay.
I have
And
one
by the way,
question.
this decision is taken from by organizations. It can be 2 weeks, it can be 4 weeks, it can at times it is 6 weeks, but it is not so prevalent, to be very honest. But if you ask me, 2 to 4 rather that's the ideal duration any organization has. I have mostly work on 2 week sprints majorly in my most of the experience with Agile. So anybody has any doubts, or we can go to the next event?
I have one doubt.
Yes, Suchana ji, please.
So if in between the sprint need to be cancelled, can it be like who will cancel that one? Or product owner or the Scrum team?
First of all, it's a very, very big and important decision, and generally it is not cancelled, if you ask me. May I know why this question of sprint cancellation has come? As in, have
Yeah,
you faced,
maybe
or it's a hypothetical?
yeah, no, I'm just thinking if like in between they found out that it will not achieve their goal, and so
So that's
maybe they
fine,
will.
then it's fine. See, it's, to be honest, in practical world, there, like for example, in case if there are some floods or cyclones or some other natural calamities and things are out of our hand, and we would definitely in that scenario not achieve the goal, but that's okay. You don't cancel that sprint. You have your a sprint review meeting wherein you kind of showcase or deliver to your client whatever you have achieved, and the next thing or whatever has not been achieved can be taken up in the next sprint. See, there is no concept of sprint cancellation. Yeah, not achieving sprint goal is absolutely fine because given such reasons, okay, not on ordinary days, given some reasons which are not in your control, natural calamities or any any times. Like I remember when I was a part of one of the leading banks in India, there was a fire in our building. There was a fire in a premises, and it was a huge one. So it was like the day I went to office, and it was just the building was all fire marshals were there. It was so crowded. So obviously you cannot work in such environment, right? So they took us to some other nearby location, and we kind of were working. At that time, the remote working concept was not so active. I'm talking to you about things in 2013 and 14. So that time they kind of relocated of whatever the machines we have. So trust me, in this scenario, a lot of documentation, a lot of machines were also like burnt or damaged in fire. So in this scenario, you don't say you cancel the sprint, you kind of deliver whatever you have when the situation is better. You get my point? So I have never come across the concept called sprint canceling, and it would be more or less not achieving the sprint goal. Okay. Are we good, Suchanaji, or you have any further doubts?
Yeah, I came across this question somewhere, so that's
That's
why I.
fine. That's fine. It can be a scenario based question. So you
Yeah.
can answer in this fashion that for Scrum, we as a team, we don't focus on Scrum cancel. Basically, we deliver as a Scrum Master, as a product owner, we deliver whatever is possible. See, assuming these scenarios, otherwise in daily course of action, in typical routine day work, such things, delays would happen. I agree. Delays as in, some delivery will not be done. That is fine. That is part and parcel of your job or of your routine work. But we don't cancel sprint. Okay, unless now I'm just giving you some very hypothetical, very extreme answers. Unless the project is withdrawn, unless the project is shelved. Project shelving is a concept wherein you no longer go ahead with that client and with that project. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So these are the basic thing that happen in initial part of the sprint. So basically you have product backlog and release planning meeting, then we have sprint planning meeting, and then we have our favorite and more practical I would say our daily scrum. So basically rather I would say these are the critical thing wherein the base of the scrum is kind of settled. Okay, this is how the scrum takes shape. So now going to the next part, assuming you've worked on your entire scrum period, you've delivered everything, or for each and every sprint, maybe 2 weeks it was, and it's like you have been working on the project for that. At the end of that you have to give a sprint review. Okay, so what do we understand when we say sprint review? Anybody who understand, what do you feel, what is a sprint review?
For me, it would be like your Scrum Master would go over what you did, like understand what you did, and then give it to product owner to tell, like basically they would go over it together to make sure it's like correct.
Okay. Okay, so this is only this much. So you feel it's within the team activity, kind of, right? Because it's a review. This is what
Yeah.
is your understanding. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Can anybody else add to this?
I think for me, sprint reviews are entirely like what exactly the goal has been achieved with this sprint. That is a review of the whole scenario. That is called sprint review.
Okay. So
What was
let me be
supposed to
very
be
yeah. Anybody else was saying something? Sorry.
what was supposed to be delivered and whether it has been delivered and what changes can be made further.
Okay. Okay, fine. I'll just take a pause here. So to be very honest, whatever you had mentioned, that is more apt for a sprint retrospective than sprint review. So, this typical English word retrospective, when we say it, kind of means to ponder upon, to think upon. How did you do something or how did you achieve something? Whereas a review, right? You remember we have this concept of appraisal review or review meetings in school, after their exams. So what
Yeah,
happens
it
in
is for
that?
feedback.
Yeah.
So is it regarding
Yes.
performance then?
Yes, now we're talking. Absolutely. Who said
And
that? Who said? Who said
Sonali.
performance? Sorry, I was on a slide.
Sonali. Yeah.
Sonali, very, very well put. Very well put.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah.
So,
Prerna ma'am,
yes.
are the
Yeah.
stakeholders also involved in this?
Very good. I was about to come to that. See, right? It's like when I review something, when I kind of showcase something in discussion, it has to have the stakeholders. So in this scenario, the stakeholders majorly are your clients. See, your senior management, other party can be involved. They are most welcome. But majorly from whom you're delivering is for the clients, right? So clients be a part of it. And it's more or less, it's like, it's a presentation, it's a showcasing of your achievement during the sprint, so you can be there. It is a very formal setup. Again, the poor rather the our very efficient scrum master sets up the meeting, invites everybody, ensures everybody is there. If it's physically possible, they are all in the same location. If it is a virtual meeting, ensuring everybody's presence is there. And so as a team, along with product owner and scrum master, we present, we showcase our deliverables, our achievements of the sprint to the customer, to the stakeholders, and those have been reviewed. Okay, so that is from the eyes of the customer or the stakeholders. So they can be like, okay, you completed this functionality, okay, you did not deliver this, you are looking forward for this. Okay, so basically it's their response to your presentation, right? So that's why it's called as review. So in this review, you kind of understand kind of how much successful you are from a sprint point of view. Because if a stakeholder is happy and they are kind of conveying that, okay, majority of their asks are completed, or they are comfortable to go ahead for the next sprint, and then you're good to go for the next sprint. And in case they can be unhappy and say, oh, we wanted some this additional functionality, or we wanted some additional features. So it can be anything, right? You can't predict a client or you can't predict stakeholders. But then sprint review is the meeting wherein you have all these presentations to the stakeholders, especially to the clients. showcasing or displaying whatever work you have done, how much you have achieved, have you achieved your sprint goal and all. So are we good on
Yes.
this?
Yes.
Okay.
For every
Prerna, I had
sprint,
one
there's
doubt.
okay.
Yeah, please go ahead. Who has a doubt?
It's me, Aparna.
Yeah, Aparna, bolo.
Yeah. In that 1 to 4 weeks, at the end of each week, should the Scrum Master report to the product owner, like how it's going and everything before the sprint review?
To be very honest, Aparna, there is no hard and fast thing that he has to report at the end. When I said that Scrum Master is very tightly coupled or very closely knitted with the team, he also interacts with product owner, on regular basis. So I have seen my Scrum Master talking to my product owner whenever they both of them have time. So honestly, what happens, product owner, as we discussed last time, he has a lot of many stakeholders to take care of, senior management, vendors, maybe customers. So they are, as a person or I would say, as an entity or designation wise are very tied up in other external meetings. So Scrum Master has regular discussions with them. It's not at the end. If there are any red flags, any alarming situation, anything that has to be given to the notice of product owner, Scrum Master is very well open and very much encouraged to share that. So it's not that at the end, rather a product owner knows whatever is going in the Scrum, because Scrum Master is like a bridge between product owner and the
Team.
Scrum team. In case I think I did mention, or maybe not in this batch, there are some typical scenarios wherein a client asks for some additional changes. Those can result in maybe longer duration, like they're asking for some functionality. For example, in a birthday cake format, with our earlier example, you are asked to prepare this, I would say, a blueberry cheesecake for that matter. Why I'm saying this, because that takes time how to bake and prepare. So can you just randomly accept that? No, if it would have been a simple cake or simple pastry, you might would have at least said yes. But when someone is coming with such a specific requirement, that would
Change
take
the
time,
recipe.
that would take effort, that would have cost of additional items. You might have to get that cheese and blueberries and whatnot, other things. So
Yeah.
in such scenarios, the team goes to a Scrum Master, and in turn, they also discuss with product owner, right? So all these things are always known to the product owner, and he is actively part of it, because he is more or less like a decision maker along with the team, right? So I will not back up this statement. It's not that they have to communicate any changes in the end, but yes, product owner is quite involved in the process, not in daily meetings or every event, but yes, sprint review, sprint retrospective, and customer meetings, any major updates, he is part of, right?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Anything else, guys? Any other doubts, or I can go to my last and
One quick
most
question.
important? Yeah, Sonali.
Every sprint has a sprint review and a sprint
Retrospective.
retrospective,
Yes.
right? For
Yes.
each,
Yes.
and there's a duration of 1 to 4 weeks, or might be 4 to 6 weeks. That is the maximum time of any
Yeah,
sprint,
depending on the organization. Yeah.
depending on the organization. Right. All right. Clear. Thank you.
Yes, yes, thank you. See, this is why we have this diagram wherein these are all events pertaining to one sprint, apart from the release planning that happens at once, and then we keep starting with sprint planning till sprint retrospective. Okay.
Right.
So now, going to the most important, honestly, from my point of view, because I strongly believe retrospection has to be a part of your life always, because this is how you know how you grow. So what do you feel? Rather, you all have answered that while talking about sprint review. So let me only get started. So sprint retrospective is basically a meeting which is held at the end of the sprint, after the sprint review, after delivering. So before you complete or shelf that sprint, you take this meeting, and it's a very, I would say, important event wherein you sit back and you realize whatever work have you done, what could have been done better, what were the things that you could improve. So it's basically you sit and you retrospect, you think, you ponder upon what could have been done better or what we did better, what we achieved. So it's basically to know what all things we have done. And so basically there are some typical questions like a scrum meeting, like what went well, like how did we achieve something, and what we deliver best. So we have to keep continue doing that. What could have been improved or worked upon in a better manner. Simple, like what we did best, what we could do better, and what we couldn't do in a decent manner. Like what was the best, what was okay, and what was the worst, honestly, to be remembered. So what we did the best, we have to continue in the next sprint. What could have been improved, we'll work upon it. It can be technical skill, it can be time management, it can be team bonding, anywhere, team coordination. And what went bad means what we couldn't achieve. Maybe we did not have any technical expertise, or maybe we lacked in coordination, maybe we did not understand what the customer was saying. So all these things basically you can ask yourself, and as a team, as individual contributor, and you learn from it. Rather you understand, rather you try to evaluate this sprint and take the learnings. See, why retrospective is important is because it gives you learning. You sit back and like how we used to get the answer paper after your examination, and you used to review that and you used to retrospect. Okay, I should have drawn a diagram here, I would have got full marks. Oh, I should have explained this much better. When you look at your answer sheet and you have all those questions, right, or to yourself, oh, what could I have done better, and how I would have added more to this answer, so I would have got full marks. So basically it's very close to what we do, what we used to do after exam and after getting our answer sheets. At the end of the sprint, we did that with as a team, that how we could have done better, and then we implement all these things in the next sprint. You get my point? It's not only we are having this discussion for the sake of it. We are taking benefit of this discussions, understanding and outputs, and you're as a team, we are supposed to implement that in the next sprint. Okay, any doubts in this sprint retrospective, sprint backlog, anything? Yes, no, everybody understood?
Good.
Answers?
Understood.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
all good?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, cool. So I'll just request Gaurav if you wish to add something here.
Yeah, definitely. So, in fact, I would add and wish to continue and resume from here. So, if that is okay, Prerna, and thank you so much for
Sure,
explaining so well, so in detail,
you. My
and you
pleasure.
covered everything in the Scrum event. So, what I can do is that I can also reshare my screen. But before I do so, and you stop your screen share, let me ask all of you who are participating. I remember that last time when I was talking to you, a couple of you have interacted with me asking about what exactly we need to do in terms of the exploring a tool. Let me ask you, how many of you could explore the tool? Be it Jira, be it Trello, be it iScrum, Asana, or anything else. Did you do that? Just opening the account and going with that, what to understand what exactly what it does.
Yes, I explore 3 tools. One Jira, second Asana, and third one is IC Scrum.
Wow, that's super brilliant. Thank you so much, Sonali, for sharing this. And can we have a round of applause for Sonali? Because that shows the proactiveness and the commitment. Thank you so much, Sonali.
Very nice, Sonali.
Okay, who else had done it? Apart
Yes,
from
sir, I tried Jira and Asana.
Brilliant, Apamita, was expected from you because you have been following this way. I know that Suchana would be up on it because she has been following really well, and because that this shows that she is repeating the session entirely. So really appreciate to Suchana as well. And I remember that Krunal had connected with me, or Aparna, I guess, someone asking about it. So I'm not sure whether you did it or not, but in case you did it, superb, awesome. And the same goes with I think Sawan. I'm not sure whether you did find time to explore it not.
Yeah, I went through a Ice Scrum.
Ice Scrum, brilliant. Can we have a round of applause for Sawan as well? Thank you so much, Sawan, for sharing that. And you did it. Thank you so much. So if anyone's name I miss, so if you did, you can definitely tell. So yeah, so with this, let me quickly ask you, after you did so, now are you good with the difference between Agile and Scrum? Yes, everyone, did you go through that? I believe that you might have gone through this along with Prerna. Did you last time? Yeah.
Gaurav, we actually did this
Scrum
role
event.
parts, and then Scrum roles and Scrum event. Yeah, Agile and Scrum difference we've not taken in the last session. Yeah, you can go ahead, please.
So sure, what I'm going to do is that, can I share my screen, Prerna? If you'll stop,
Yes,
I
yes,
can.
please go ahead. I'll just stop share.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. So here we go. And you see here that difference, a quick difference between Agile and Scrum. So the key difference, Agile is nothing but a methodology. Scrum is nothing but a framework. What Prerna has just now explained you in detail, every single thing, starting from backlog item, getting into sprint planning, and then doing daily Scrum, and then doing sprint review, and then retrospective, that completes a Scrum in itself. And remember, whenever someone asks you, don't understand that it may go to 6 weeks sometime, depending upon organization to organization, but you can always say that up to 4 weeks. In my personal experience of 18 years, I have never gone beyond 4 weeks. 4 weeks, sprint is over. That's it. So that you can take a note of it. So key difference between Agile and Scrum is that while Agile is a project management philosophy which utilizes a core set of values of principles, Scrum is a specific Agile methodology that is used to facilitate a project. Do you know that along with Scrum, there are other framework as well? Those are known as sometimes Kanban, or they are the mixture of Scrum and Kanban. They are known as Scrumban. And sometimes it is extreme programming, also known as XP, peer programming, PP. So likewise, there are various Scrum. Okay. Sometime you can use your hand to, take food to your mouth and then chew and then complete this. And the second way is that you can use spoon and forks, and that then also you can eat your food. So do you understand these are the various methods can be used to complete a task of eating? Did you get that?
Yes.
If you consider eating as a project. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Now understand this one. Okay, what is Agile? Okay, Agile is nothing but the core intent of Agile is that deliver incrementally in a small chunk. So it says that distinction between sprint and Scrum is that they are two linked but different terms. Scrum is a framework often used in Agile methodology, and sprint is a part of Scrum's framework's structure. So if I'll talk about more about this in detail, let me ask you this question. How many of you deal with the kids in your life every single day? How many of you do that? No, none?
Me.
Okay, let me see who is that. So yes, this is Apamita and Aparna. You do with kids. You deal with kids. And let me ask you
Yes.
this question. How many of you ever dealt with kid in the past in your lifetime?
I have.
Everyone, I guess. And when it comes to dealing with the kids, this kind of dealing have you done? You tried persuading them to eat some portion of food. Have you done so? I believe everyone. Yeah.
Yes, every day.
Okay.
Yes.
Why I'm asking you this, I'm going to talk about it just to explore more on the product backlog. Okay, just hang on. Before that, let me take you towards the you know this we are going to explain, deliver incrementally. How do we do this? And instead of all at once, the more intent of agile is to deliver it in chunk. Okay, you have seen the difference between agile and scrum. So agile and scrum, the another fundamental intent is that making the software lightweight. Okay, a scrum process is distinguished from other agile process by specific concept and practices divided into three categories, that is role, artifact, and time boxes. When time boxing comes, we are mainly talking about the sprint. Okay, in the sprint itself, everything is time boxed. 15 minutes daily stand up, you have to wrap up your discussion within 15 minutes. Okay, even scrum sprint has to be cancelled. Suchna was asking, can any at any point of time it can be cancelled? It can be cancelled because of a few reasons. When there has been a drastic change in the original requirement, existing scrum will be cancelled, and only one person can cancel it. With the facilitation of scrum master, it is only product owner. Okay, so understand the core purpose has to be fulfilled, and that's the reason even the sprint cancellation may come into the picture if it is not making the software lightweight. Okay, then we are talking about the roles. Prerna has briefed you about product owner, then scrum master, and then dev team. I guess we will be more talking about the dev team or scrum team in detail. The artifacts, we will be looking at it, but for now you are well aware of time box. It is different from waterfall you have known. Now let me ask you, have you gone through these scrum values that Scrum has got 5 values: courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. Okay, so can I get the answer? Yes or no? No. Is it no?
Yeah.
Okay, super. So understand, scrum.org says that Scrum has got 5 values: CFCRO, that's the first letters of courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. That as a Scrum team, you need to showcase. Okay, so Scrum team members have courage to do the right thing and work on tough problems. So another thing, as I am telling, that the core intent is that bring everything into the smaller and smaller chunk of task, activity, or work item. Okay, so that courage you must have to simplify the things. Okay, so that even tough can be resolved. The focus has to remain on the delivery. Everyone focus on the work of the sprint and goals of the scrum team. You don't have to think of the entire project, just focus of one action item. That's it, and thereby you will eventually find yourself completing the sprint. Commitment, people personally commit to achieve the goals of the scrum team. Where you can see that in sprint planning meeting, just before the sprint is starting, people nominate themselves that what area they can pick up to start working upon that, be it for development of the portion of the bigger software, or even testing of that, or even developing the documentation about that functionality of a smaller portion of a bigger application. So far, are you good, able to understand whatever I shared with you? Yes. Super, amazing.
Yes.
Now, with this commitment, it comes respect as well. You can't say that someone is being proactive and nominating themselves with the one item because just five people were sitting idle and they did not nominate themselves. They were looking at others' face, figuring out that let someone else go first. And the one who goes first and he nominates himself or herself, thinking that, okay, let me do the others' work easy. And in your sight and in your opinion, he or she picks up the one very less complicated portion of a bigger software. You can't say that this is something ingenuineness or this is something selfishness. He has just opened or she has just opened the door for you also to come forward and nominate yourself about on what area you want to work upon. And that's the reason Scrum demands your respect for fellow team member as well. So remember, the respect is the key ingredient towards the success of any single sprint. And fifth is the openness. The Scrum team and its stakeholders agree to be open about all the work and the challenges with performing the work. So what may happen while you are delivering, while you are working, you may face some challenge. And your stand-up meeting, what do you talk about? 3 things. Can someone quickly tell me 3 things you talk about in the daily stand-up?
What was done, what needs to be done, and what problems have we encountered?
Exactly. Thank you so much, Apamita. These are three lines you need to remember as a Scrum team. What was last 8? What is next 8? And any problem. Do you remember that? What was the last 8 means what did you do in the last 8 hours? What is next 8 means in next 8 hours, what you are planning to do, and if any impediment that you want to share. So you should have the courage to talk about and being open that if any impediment came across, and do you sense that some existing work is going to get delayed. So even you should be that much open that you can openly share that with the team in front of Scrum Master and other fellow team members. Okay, so let me quickly talk to you about benefits of Scrum. So benefits of Scrum says that increase the quality of the deliverables. You know what? Every single thing in a Scrum is called as a deliverable. And when you break it down in the smaller piece, it is called as activity, or in technical term, it is also known as ticket, because I know that you have explored Jira, you have explored Asana or iScrum or different tools. What happens inside, every bigger project is broken down in the smaller tasks, but remember that every single task has to be delivered at the end at the client location, and that's the reason it is called as deliverable, and you need to focus on its quality. Okay, so why quality? Because then it demands the change. It demands the repeat order. Now let me go back towards the example of dealing with the small kids. So say for example, you are trying to persuade a kid to have a bread jam. Okay, do you understand what does bread jam mean? I'm sure that everyone might have had in their lifetime bread jam. Did you ever? Yes. Yeah, thank you. So you are just persuading the kid to have the bread jam, and you see that there are total 3 slices he needs to consume. So how do you persuade him? In a way that he may ask for the another piece, so that if someone would have given you this task to persuade the child and let him eat this 3 pieces of slices as a bread jam, so that he may ask for the another as well. So how would you persuade? In a very fascinating manner, that he himself or she herself will demand for the another slice once first will be consumed. Do you agree with this?
Yes.
Yeah, let me connect back once again to this example when I'll come back towards the product backlog. Okay, now let me come back over here. Cope better with the change, and that's why this kid's mind continues to change. He or she continues to divert on to various different things. Okay, but here you need to cope well with that changing mindset what the child has. And you may expect more, and that will showcase and demonstrate your readiness, that how you absorb and adopt those changes. That's what exactly happens even with the software. While you are building the software, and this is always in benefit for you, the moment you can sense the change, understand it is going to add revenue to you or to your organization and eventually to you. So always change is what? Is it good or not? Good or good?
Yes.
Good.
Super good. Yeah, change is good. And then provide better estimate while spending less time creating them. And in return, what you need to say that when this new changes or the smaller portion of consuming item will get delivered, so you just provide the estimate. How do you do that? We will talk about that in coming few days. Be more in control of the project schedule and state. So let me ask you this thing. You are in home, okay? You are surrounded with two or three small kids, okay? Now kid has started yelling. Now I want an ice cream, okay? And you take him to the store. And when you take him to the grocery store, he looks at the various item, okay? And then he punches you, he persuades you that I want this Sunday ice cream because this looks very fascinating. And when you say no, it may spoil your teeth, or it is too sweet, so to handle, or it's not good for your health, then he starts or she starts yelling. The 4-year-old kid, or say 6-year-old kid, you are not agreeing to buy him or her candy or just ice cream. Then she starts shouting, yelling, and rolling on the floor and all. And then at the
Hello,
end,
Gaurav. There is no audio. Is there any problem?
I can hear him.
okay.
We can
Okay.
hear.
We can hear it.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Okay, Prerna, I think it might be at your end. So yeah, so thank you for pausing. I just need to reconnect. So yeah, this kid finally persuades you to buy him a Sunday ice cream. Now let me ask you, who is in the control, kid or you?
You.
Kid.
Us.
Kid.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, Prerna, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
I'm not sure from my.
Okay. So Prerna, you can hear us, right? Okay, so Prerna is reconnecting. Let me continue with the topic. So who do you think is in more control? You or the kid?
Kid.
Is kid in the control? He is shouting, he is yelling. He is persuading
No,
you
it'd
to
be
buy the
us.
Sunday ice cream. You are in the control, okay, of the kid. Kid is controlling you, okay? So kid is controlling you, but in the project, the activity should not be flooded in a way that you will get controlled by the activity, but you should allow the activity to remain in your control. So be you yourself more in control of the project schedule and state. Okay, what does it mean? It does mean that you should be top of it. You can handle it well. Okay, so few are smart enough who can handle a kid. These projects which are coming from the client are just like a kid. If you don't give attention to them, they will just grow in a way that they cannot be handled well. Okay, so be very attentive towards handling such clients or such projects. Are you able to understand what did I really wanted to install in your mind when it comes to project as well as to client? That you have to keep the schedule always in time so that you can deliver well in time. And you should be update on the state, whether your project is moving as expected, or it has been slowed down, or it has been become faster. Are you able to understand what did I say so far?
Yes.
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 Super. Thank you. let me along with this tell you the benefits of Agile for the customer. Okay. Customer, more responsive to the request. Okay. High value features and delivered more quickly with the short cycle. That is the benefit to the customer using Agile. And how about development team? They enjoy development work. Work is valued and used always. So yes, value, when it comes to value, I'm going to tell something more about value because which is very important. And reducing non-productive work. You cannot spend time on the non-productive item. Okay, always identify them, discard it, and move towards the productive item. How it is beneficial for Scrum Master? Then for Scrum Master, the planning, task level tracking in daily meetings happen. Tremendous awareness of project state, which just now I talked about, and status is there with the Scrum Master. He is always, or she is always top of it. Okay, catching and addressing issue becomes quickly because of what? Daily stand-up meeting. And good that Prerna covered this one. Okay, how it is beneficial for vendor? Okay, so always remember in sprint planning meeting, high value, high value feature is taken. Now, going back to the kids example, imagine now you are serving the kid, small pieces of cake. Okay, and that tutti fruity cake, say for example, is a part of a big bread loaf. And this big bread loaf is just looking like a bread loaf, but in reality it is a cake, and you have just slices down. Okay, can you imagine this? That a big loaf of the cake is in reality is a cake. Okay, you have just sliced in a various pieces, and now this piece of cakes are ready with you in as a stack in a plate. Can you
Yes.
can you sense it what I am saying? And these pieces are nothing but the activity and that items the kid has to consume. Highest value feature you will deliver to the kid very first, so that he or she can demand the another piece or another slice from the loaf. So the slice which comes with the more values, like the more tutti fruity and cherries can be seen in that slice, you pick that up. Okay, you pick that up, the highest value in the priority, and put in the plate of whom? The kid's plate, asking him to consume it first. Okay, so that he will demand the another highest value item or feature, and then you can repeat the same activity with the kid after he finishes the first in the first sprint. Then in the second sprint you can serve him with the another piece of the cake or of the slice of the cake. Are you able to understand so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what exactly happened in the sprint planning? You decide that you have got 3 kids and you serve every single kid one slices and ask them together. In this sprint planning meeting, we are deciding to consume these 3 slices together, and it should be done within next 1 week. And thereby you set an example that your every single sprint will be of 1 week. You could have set time duration of even a month or 2 weeks. 2 weeks, as Prerna said, is ideal. So remember, this is going to be ideal. Okay, good with me so far? Yes.
Yes.
Super
Yes.
amazing. So now it increases the efficiency. Imagine the way they will rush on these activity, these kids, and they will consume as fast as possible. You have good amount of time to celebrate all the ceremony. You have spent good amount of time in the sprint planning, and then daily scrum. You are doing asking this kid, hey, how is the taste? Are you finding it well? They will give you the feedback. Okay, I'm really loving it, or I did not like it, or this guy is also taking my portion. or he is not letting me eat. So what is these? He is not letting me eat. He is taking my portion. He is just throwing some pebbles in my plate, so I'm not able to eat it. These are impediment, and Scrum Master has to. So I'm just talking in a very layman term so that you can even visualize, and you should be able to understand and can relate when it comes to the bigger project or even the software application. Okay, so kindly be in sync with it and enjoy this process of learning the sprint with the project management and application. So yeah, it increases the efficiency because you can manage and you understand everything, reduce wastage and decreased overhead. If you think you can say that, okay, fine, you can remove the sides of the slices and rest you can consume. Okay, the same happens. You identify the wastage and you can tell your team, okay, forget about the technical dates. Technical dates means the unnecessary lines during the coding which has been written and done and added by the developers. So you will say that whatever you were just trying to figure it out, and during the figuring out you have added some lines, you can comment them or you can just delete them. So you are reducing the wastage. So this is how it is useful for the vendor. So vendor will get these benefits using Agile. Okay, product owner, development work aligns with the customer needs, and you as a product owner will continue to focus on the development work, whether it is aligned with the customer needs or not. Frequent opportunities to reprioritize work. Okay, in every sprint planning you will get this opportunity as a Scrum Master to reprioritize your work. Now, depending upon the consumption capacity of your team, you can deliver or you can put the slices. That is nothing but a product backlog. When slices together in a bunch of in a bread loaf is called as product backlog, and when it is delivered in all these three kids plate, this will happen in the sprint planning meeting. Okay, and that is why it is also called as a sprint backlog. Are you with me so far, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you,
Yes.
thank you so much. And so we have done with product owner. Now PMOs and C-level executive, so they will have the high visibility of daily project development just because of your daily stand up. Okay, and that's why I think it was Sonali who was asking this question, that can Scrum Master or PMO or any person can talk to product owner. Remember, your daily stand up meeting always help them to get the update. Okay, and in return there are two kind of thing. One, a daily update when a project manager or product owner is sending back to the client, he can include the PMO office as well. He may, and sometime even WSI he prepares, that is also called as a weekly status report. However, everything remains visible inside your project management tool. Okay, and that is called as Jira or Asana, wherever. So even separately, you don't need to interact with every single senior person, because they have got the visibility and access to those project tool where they themselves can come back and can check this out. Okay, so high visibility of daily project development, adjust strategies based on hard information, and plan effectively with less speculation. So this level of benefit even PMOs and C-level executives may have. PMO stands for project management office, and four values you have seen last time, principles you have seen last time. Okay, so with this note, let me ask you, do you have any question? Any questions so far? No? Okay, cool. So coming back now towards what Prerna was discussing, and Prerna was talking about this thing, that was the various Scrum items. Okay, let me go back on this. Okay, Scrum events, you have understood, fair understanding about release planning, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. These are very, very, very crucial. I was talking about the slice of cakes. these are the cakes, okay? These are the activities. These are the sprint planning. You are serving the biggest item, fascinating item, and highest feature value to those kids, and those kids are nothing but your team. And when the slices goes in their table, they pick that up. That is called as sprint backlog. But before it comes out of this stack, it is always called a sprint backlog. They give you the feedback. How does it look like? How it is. They are finding that feedback daily happens, frequently happens in the daily scrum, and that will continue till the activity gets done. Okay, that duration is between 1 to 4 weeks, and then after it is done, this is demonstrated to the client as well, how this consumption has been done, and then it gets delivered to the client. And that in the retrospective, as Prerna explained to you, that how they decide what went good, what did not go well, or what did go well. So out of that, you decide to take some learning. So here everything is explained well. So coming back to the sprint planning, the purpose of the sprint planning is nothing but create the sprint backlog and identify the sprint goal that the entire Scrum team is committing to over the course of sprint. Means what? Here from this sprint planning, you are picking 3-4 high value featured slices, putting it in for 4 weeks, and asking your kids, that is your candidate, that is your team, to consume that, okay, just within a sprint, and deliver it to the client. So this is what exactly is the purpose of sprint planning. Then what is in the daily scrum happens? 3 things we have talked about. Okay, who attains that? Let me go back. The entire team attains the sprint planning, and tips and tricks are that encourage the team to discuss and negotiate each item related to the sprint goal. You need to really understand very well what at the end of the sprint you are going to achieve. So keep asking this question to your product owner, scrum master, as a business analyst, or be involved to answer this question to your team. Ensure the product backlog has been ordered and completed by the product owner before sprint planning begins. Okay, before it comes into the plate, it has to be very well organized by the product owner in the stack itself, that is in the product backlog item. Once the sprint goal is set, it can be broken by the product owner, but should remain relevant throughout the course of sprint. And here it may come that some decided sprint, because of the frequent changes, may have to be cancelled, but in reality it doesn't happen. Okay, but you have to be considerable enough that if time demands, you can go ahead as a product owner, only then you can cancel it. Okay, then daily scrum, the purpose I told you. Attendees who has to, other than product owner, for every single person it is mandatory. Other than product owner, client, and stakeholder, it is mandatory for rest of all to attend this scrum meeting, daily scrum meeting. Okay, tips and tricks are that be sure that every single team, even if you are remote video conferencing tool you are using, your video has to be switched on today. Because of COVID, people have shifted geographically, remotely, and they are not standing anymore, right? They are in their own shell, they are there in their own comfort, and sometime you will find that this 10 minutes or 15 minutes of shortest stand up, they are just trying to complete it on their terms, and that's the reason it becomes mandatory for them to switch on their camera. Okay, but somehow, because it's agile, it is not hard and fast, but it is recommended. Are you with me so far, everyone?
Yes.
Do you understand how with the newly changed and trending way this remote daily stand-up change? So
Yes.
thank you for your answer, everyone. So don't let the meeting turn into a verbal status report. Remember, it is not status report. If someone says that I did yesterday, blah, 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 you have just few slices in your plate. You have to tell that I consumed out of 3, I consumed 1. I'm planning to switch on to another one this evening. Okay. Or my today, the day will start with the next slice. Slice are just a representation over here as an item of work. Okay. Encourage team members to get together after the daily scrum to discuss any terms that require additional conversation. Okay. So say, for example, a business analyst is there and software developer is there. Okay. Now developer is asking, hey, I could not finish this up, this activity, because I just wanted to understand the flow and the connection of two items or two functionality together. So after this stand-up meeting, I will have your time so that you can explain me well. So yes, this is not going to happen in the daily stand-up of 15 or 10 minutes. Otherwise, it will eat out everyone's time. So immediate after 10 minutes, you can definitely meet offline and discuss about it. Now understand the sprint review. Okay. But another fundamental rule is that rule of thumb, we can say, do not let the meeting go longer than 15 minutes. And remember, this is very, very, very important. Daily stand-up means 10 to 15. If you can go up to 10, you are really doing great work. Okay. But beyond 15, not appreciated. Okay. So this is just a heads up to you. Sprint review is showcasing the work completed over the course of sprint. So it's just a client feedback. You show to the client how does it work. Okay, your software application. Are you following whatever I said, that what happens in the sprint review?
Yes.
So the word you can say that for review is reviewing what you have done. Okay, you simply demonstrate how does it work. So what do? The keyword is how does it work. Can you repeat with me? In review, you show how does it work. How does it work is the keyword. What is the keyword?
How does it work?
Exactly. Brilliant. That's what it is. So the entire Scrum team plus certain managers, stakeholders, customers, and other developers, because ultimately it comes to the customer and customer has to be delighted. And that's the reason these people become the attendees over here. And the tips and tricks are quickly to share with you is that ensure that any outside stakeholders know where they need to be and when. Get the room prepped. Scrum Master has to do this activity. The production team should not feel like they are defending their work. Prep to ensure they are able to shine. And this is just not a what we did work. This is a complete celebration that has to showcase your hard work. How did you go beyond what is expected, and you are trying to meet the criteria of customer, and that's the reason you come in the very celebrating mode and you showcase and talk about it. Capture actionable feedback as items in the backlog. Customer may say that, hey, this is brilliant, but we want this happen in this way. By the way, with this note, I want you to just take a screenshot of it. And while you are taking the screenshot, then if you're done, I will flip to the another one. Can I? Okay, you can take it from the recording as well. So it means that I can move to the next. And it was the last one, sprint retrospective. So the main purpose of retrospective is to allow the team to inspect itself and plan for improvement in the next sprint. The retrospective itself is the combination of two words. Can someone tell me what are those two words? What are those two words? Can someone tell me in this retrospective?
Retro and inspection.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much for identifying it. Retro and inspection. So retro means the past, what happened in the past, and you inspect over it. It means you are going to postmortem what exactly you did well or something did not happen well. But remember, this is not a blame game. Because of you or because of this team, this happened and we should not do that. We are not going to talk about this. You are going to talk about your observation. I think we should be including this. Okay. I think we should have worked in this way. This was my opinion. Can be next time practice. Come with not only the problem, with the solution. When you start the solution, you can uplift the entire team together. But when you will just focus on the problem, what is going to happen? Would people like to continue to work with you?
No.
No. So always go with the solution. Okay, my observation was that because there was not, user stories were not elaborated. I think I mean to say elaborated means it was really well elaborated, but if possible, can we attach some screenshots, some screenshots of every user story? What is user story? Can someone tell me? Another small piece of the work that is yeah, the project is broken down.
Summary.
Yes, so it's a summary of any activity. So if to support that, if we can attach the screenshot, it will be more useful. Then you will have the action item that from next sprint onwards, every single user story will be the supporting, will be having the supporting images or supporting screenshot. Are you with me so far? We will be talking
Yes.
about this user story in coming days very shortly, but to understand, user story is nothing but a small piece of work. Before activity, it is a bigger chunk. Okay, before user story, it may become the epic or goal in itself, or the bigger part is the project in itself. Okay, so smaller, its name continues to change. Attendees who will attend that ceremony of retrospection, of course, led by Scrum Master and the production team. Product owner is here again optional, but recommended. Tips and tricks: don't allow people to point finger. Yeah, that's what I cover. Okay, don't play the blame game, but play the game so that you can learn. Create a safe space for people to provide their honest feedback. Use game and different question to mix things up and reduce monotony. Make sure any actionable suggestions is captured, assigned, and tracked. Generally, with Jira, there is another Italian product. Jira is Italian product. Okay, so like PowerPoint is whose product? Microsoft. In a similar way, Jira is Italian product, and it also comes with Confluence. Okay, where you take all those notes, actionable item, and all. And this is nowadays very great tool to capture all the discussion and details. Okay, so fifth one is not mentioned everywhere, that is done, sprint or cancel. Just now we spoke about it. So done, sprint or cancelled. Done goes in the sprint done chart to release the product increment from product backlog list. So after every sprint gets into it, just after every single user story or activity or tickets or incidents in the project management tool are once marked as the done. We will be also looking at definition of done in coming days. Okay, here you can quickly look at the Scrum planning. Involves input and output. In the input, it comes from the big loaf of the slice, which we call it as a product backlog. Okay, B, consider the latest increment. What was the highest feature value we have given to the candidate in the sprint planning meeting as a sprint backlog? And we define the velocity and capacity of the development team. I'll be sharing back the velocity and capacity video. But for this, may I ask Suchana if you can identify the velocity capacity video? You attended the last batch or batch 6, Suchana? Hello? Yeah, Suchana. Velocity and capacity video, can you identify and share in the group if possible, easily for you?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Super. Thank you so much, Suchana. And sprint planning meeting, what happens? what we will we do and how we will do, that's what we define over here. And as a result, sprint goal is achieved and sprint backlog is refined. Okay, so this is something, it may look like that every single thing is a ticket we are talking about. Can you see over here? And
Yes.
at the end it is marked as done. Okay,
Yes.
so product backlog comes into the sprint backlog, and the sprint planning happens, and then implementation starts with the continuous daily feedback, and it is reviewed, and it is retrospected, and while in review, we define that what is completed, and it bit we increment it as done. So this is how it is, a very simple way. Okay, so in the sprint, here it is says what is sprint. Someone was asking what does time boxing means. So time boxing is the iteration of a development cycle, that whatever you have chosen and done will continue to happen, and broken project into the small and consistent time interval that we are talking about the sprint. Okay, between 1 week to 4 weeks, and as short as few days and as long as 4 weeks, that you need to remember. For sprint, can call a sprint goal a project in itself due to start and finish record it gives. Okay, now to show you further, you can see the length time box. It has, you decide whether a week or 4 weeks or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay, it has a fixed length. It has first sprint will have the fixed start date and end date, and thereby the various other sprint. So one project, banking project has come, that you require to be enabled for mobile banking. Mobile banking has amount withdrawal or cash withdrawal, cash deposit, and balance inquiry, as well as fund transfer, 4 features. And with this together, the bank demands you the entire application, entire software. You decide in the first sprint we will deliver cash withdrawal, second sprint will go with the cash deposit, third will go with the balance inquiry, fourth will go with the fund transfer. And you come up with the start date and end date, and you deliver sprint by sprint to the customer. Okay, so the why it is fixed in the time, because to balance between the need to release rapidly, customers should not suffer that they are not able to use anything at the end. They should not wait till the end, after the finishing of the 16 weeks or 4 months. Every single month they should be coming up with usage of one new feature, allowing enough time to complete a useful amount of work in each sprint. And once an appropriate length is found, it typically stays the same. That's what the fundamental rule of any organization, where they decide where the sprint, how long the sprint should go for. So any questions so far? Are we good till here? May I have some yeses? Were you able to consume and understand using this concept of bread loaf? Was easy for you to understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, super. So I think we are good. Prerna, for today, do you have anything to add?
I think we are good, Gaurav. We have kind of shared a lot of information today, so let them process it for now as well.
Okay, hope every one of you enjoyed with the, persuading the child, and with the tutti frutti cake and bread loaf and slices and all. So let me ask you this thing, starting with, because I was talking to Suchana. Suchana, just tell something about today's. How did you feel today while you are repeating it? Suchana, over to you.
Okay, yeah. So it is really the things are more clearer, and more new examples I'm getting.
More new examples. Okay. And did you find it interesting?
Yeah, it is very interesting.
Thank you so much, Suchana.
Now I'm thinking like a business analyst, more involved.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great to hear that, Suchana. More power to you. Suchana, call out someone's name on the screen you see.
Aparmita.
Apamita, what do you feel like saying, Apamita?
Very informative and I would say very exhaustive session. We'll have to rewatch it because there
Yeah,
was
okay.
there was too much information that I need
Okay.
to process.
Okay. But could you process it easily in the session as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Apamita. Apamita, call out someone's name on the screen you see.
Sonali.
Sonali, what do you feel like saying?
Yes, I completely agree with Aparmita. That was very informative but exhaustive. So definitely we're gonna rewatch it. And yeah, thank you so much, Gaurav and Prerna. You guys did it really well. We got the very yummy examples of the every every terms. So it was very easy to understand. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sonali. Call out someone's name on the screen,
Right,
please.
I would call Savan Patel, please.
Savan. Yes, Savan, what do you feel like saying, Savan?
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot, like, and it was like kind of overwhelming, but the examples made it much more easier for me to like understand like the way things work, like the cycles basically.
Super amazing. Savan, call out someone's name on the screen you see left.
Parna?
Aparna, what do you feel like saying, Aparna?
Yeah, it was very interesting and the examples were very nice for us to understand in layman terms.
Super amazing. Aparna, call out someone's name on the screen you see.
I think everybody is done. I think Prerna and Gaurav, only you both
Okay,
are
so
left.
so you can call out the name then.
Yeah,
Please call.
Prerna.
Prerna. Yes, Prerna, over to you.
Thank you, Aparna. So absolutely right. I will not say exhaustive, I'll say interesting and with a lot of information. So yes, it's a very important session today and I enjoyed it with obviously with good food examples and the interesting concepts. So again, regular request that please do rewatch this video, and in case you have any doubts, we are very much welcome to take it in the next session, or you can reach out to us. So all in one, and awesome session. Over to you, Gaurav. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So with this note, I once again reconnect back with you the code of honor, and during that we share that we have just done golden quadrant of learning partial part. We have started with the declaration and the anchoring, followed by a declaration, followed by anchoring, and then we have done the learning part. Now two pieces are remaining with you. Do you know when any electric circuit gets completed? When two different circuits meet together. The first circuit are with us, that is anchoring and declaration and learning. Two circuits are there with you, that is drawing and then summarizing. If you complete it, the track gets completed, the session gets completed. So now go back and you within 24 hours draw whatever you have learned, however you wish to. Okay, make a circle, write it down, make some notes by your own, and then just switch on the camera or recording button and in a minute or two explain, showing that scribble or drawing that what you remember. Don't worry how it will go. Eventually remember that you have to evolve, and this is the process of evolution, so that you can be recognized as a business analyst. And what we are doing, this is a kind of a project together. Okay, and that's the reason in past Suchana has done very, very well. She had amazing video, she kept on sharing. Suchana, if you feel like, you can re-record, you can re-summarize, and you can share that. And if you have your old video you want to share that, you can share that too, Suchana. Okay, amazing. Apamita, you have to just bring the momentum up. You had been doing, but you need to contribute, you need to continue doing it. Okay, so that you be ready for a mock-up interview session as well.
Sure.
And rest of you, like I remember Krunal, if you are listening to the recording, you have been doing amazing. Continue to do that. I expect Aparna so also to do that, and Sonali and Savan, you guys are there where you need to start. Okay, so summarizing is very, very important. And while you all would be doing that, I would have a small request that don't forget to smile while you were explaining. Okay, that will add a lot of energy. to the watcher, especially when they are recruiter. Okay, all right, did you understand it?
Sure, Gaurav.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. That's your assignment. Thank you so much. I wish you a very good night and see you next on when? Sunday evening once again.
Sunday.
Till then, enjoy, prepare, and do lot of self-research. And
Good night, guys.
good night,
Take
guys.
care.
Good night,
See you
everyone.
soon.
So much,
Yeah,
everyone.
bye-bye.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone. Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.